playing a great football team in North Carolina, especially what we've seen from them the past few weeks. Extremely prolific on offense. Hall of Fame coach and Mac Brown. Looking forward to seeing Mac. Great friend, and he's just done a great job of revitalizing this program and getting them to the level that they are today in a very short period of time. But a very dynamic offense led by Sam Howell, but very balanced. Very, very big offensive line. The wide receiving core, Brown, Newsome, I mean, the depth there. But, Simmons, obviously. But the running back situation is as talented as anybody in the country. Carter and Williams. Williams, I think he's got 18 touchdowns this year. I mean, it's just a fabulous offense, extremely well coached. Coach Longo does a great job. And then defensively, they give you a lot of looks, make it very difficult for you to get comfortable offensively, and attacking, aggressive. Chaz Surratt is an outstanding player. The Foxes, we've seen them for quite a few years. So, again, well-deserving of where they are as one of the top teams in the ACC, and it'll be a great challenge and a marquee matchup on the day after Thanksgiving on Friday. So we'll have to play very, very well to come out with a victory.
All right, and we'll begin this afternoon with Eric Hansen.
Hey, Coach, the camera panned you out of the picture, just in case you were wondering.
Excellent. I love getting panned out of the picture.
Obviously, we heard some news over the bye week about Tommy Kramer and Jarrett Patterson. Can you fill us in on their situations, and then your hopes and thoughts for Josh Lugg and Zeke Correll as starters?
Yeah, Patterson is out, had foot surgery, went very well. He'll recover and do extremely well. And we'll have him back, obviously next year. Disappointed for him. He was having a great season. But again, I think he'll do quite well from this surgery. Tommy had an emergency appendectomy. It was laparoscopic, so we caught it in time, and no rupture. So he's up and around already, and we expect him to be moving around later this week and football-related activities next week. So dodged the bullet there. Be out for a short period of time. So Zeke Correll moves to the center position. We've got a great deal of confidence in Zeke. Remember now, Zeke's a highly recruited player for us, and we've been waiting for him to get his opportunity, and he has been waiting, I guess, more importantly, and he's going to get that chance this weekend against North Carolina. And Josh Lugg now, as you know, played quite a bit of meaningful football for us last year at the tackle position. We'll move into that slot at right guard. He was probably our sixth guy there, and he's ready to play and compete at a high level. So lose a couple of really good players, and we plug them in with two equally fine players, and we're excited about their opportunities.
We'll go next to Tim Priester. And Tim, I believe you're on mute. All right, we will circle back to Tim, but we'll continue with John Finneran.
Hi, Brian. Morning.
Good morning.
Can you recall the last time your team played against a team with as many highly ranked offensive threats as North Carolina? And how do you attempt to minimize the impact they will have defensively? How do you, and also, how do you try to use your ball control offense to minimize them?
Well, they're an extremely talented team. We've played similar teams. Clemson obviously comes to mind as a equally talented football team. Travis Etienne, DJ at quarterback, the wide receiving core. Some similar talented players, on the Clemson football team. But obviously, certainly a really deserving of all the accolades in terms of what they've accomplished. And they don't go away. I mean, they have come back in fourth quarters and won football games, and they keep playing. So it's an equally dangerous team in terms of the way they keep playing as well. From our perspective, we want to be who we are. We want to be physical. We want to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. That's how we play. And they're going to play how they play. We have to minimize big plays. I mean, look at, obviously the most important thing in this game is who can keep the points down. If you look at their scores over the last few weeks, it's big points. And so, keeping the points down. So defensively, we've got to really do a great job of minimizing big chunk plays. And you start by, minimizing those and controlling the line of scrimmage. They do a great job running the football. I think they're averaging maybe a yard per game more than we are in terms of running the ball, and so they run the ball equally as well. So this will be a great challenge for us, and one that we're excited about and looking forward to.
We'll go next to Patrick Engel.
Hey, Brian, we've seen Clarence Lewis get a lot of the work over there at field corner and have him listed as the starter on there for this week. What have you as a staff seen from him to kind of give him that opportunity?
Well, it's been close. Him and Tariq, it's been a battle all year. It's gone back and forth, and I think, quite frankly, they'll both continue to battle at that position. I just think that, as we evaluate each week, we just do what's best for, that unit. And Clarence has done some things that I think that, from an overall unit standpoint, that we think Clarence has done enough to earn the starting position. But we haven't lost our confidence in Tariq at all. He continues to work on the things necessary for him to get on the field for us. So, I don't think that it's been, where it's been 1, 2 as much as it's been 1A and 1B. And Clarence has done a really nice job when he's been out there. And so we continue to go in that direction.
We'll go next to Tim O'Malley.
Coach, you've faced about every type of mobile quarterback so far this season. What is it that Sam Howell does, though, he kind of his ability to extend plays and work that RPO to his advantage?
Yeah, there's no question, Tim, that's part of it, but he throws the best deep ball in the league. That's really the difference with Sam. I don't want to take away any of the other things that you just mentioned because he does those quite well as you mentioned, but he throws a great deep ball. He's able to locate. He doesn't, I like to use the phrase, ice the puck. He doesn't throw it out of bounds. He gives his receivers a chance to catch him. Throws a great glance route, and that's really, for me, what has separated Sam from the other quarterbacks that we've seen this year.
We'll go next to Pete Byrne.
Hey, Brian, unlike your last bye week/weeks, this was planned and not an inordinate amount. Given how physical your last few games were, how much did your team need this time to recover? And secondarily, maybe it's not such an issue since you're coming off your bye, but how does playing on a Friday this week change what you guys are going to do compared to playing on a Saturday?
Yeah, I don't know that it matters as much. If we were coming off of certainly a Saturday game, a short week does matter. But at this part of the year, you can pull back in terms of what you're doing. So I think if it's earlier in the year, it does affect you a little bit more. But when I was in the Mid-American Conference, we were playing on 5 days, 4 days. The MAC plays, these Tuesdays and Wednesday games. So I remember those, and it just keeps things simpler in that respect. As it relates to us, however, coming off the bye week, we were able to get a couple extra practice days for North Carolina. So it doesn't affect us at all relative to our preparation. And in terms of the rest, I think it was better for us relative for the mental more so than the physical. Surely it allows us to get some guys that were banged up a little bit, the ability to get in the training room and feel great. But we were in midterms, finals, and it felt like midterms, but we were in finals, and the mental rest certainly helped us.
We'll go next to Anthony Totri.
Hey, Coach, a little off topic here, but obviously a big week with the holidays, a lot of families having different and unique Thanksgivings. What are you looking forward to most on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I think I'm, just grateful for the opportunity to be coaching this team. I mean, we didn't know what this looked like, or what it was going to look like in March, April, May, and to be around such a special group of coaches and players and support staff, and to to be going through the season that we are. I guess I'm, just extremely grateful for that. And then, obviously from this week, we get an opportunity to, play a game. And travel on Thanksgiving, play on Friday, and then we'll get a chance to have our Thanksgiving this Saturday. So extremely grateful that we get a chance to share that with everybody that's been through quite the unusual 2020 football season.
We'll go next to Lou Samoji.
Good afternoon, Coach. Just a couple questions. One, does the preparation now with classes finished, exams finished, does it almost feel like an extended December for a bowl game these next several weeks? And the second part is just regarding Tommy Tremble. Have you, in your coaching career, seen a receiver or tight end or anybody who's been so highlighted week after week for his blocking acumen and production?
This week, not yet. I mean, it doesn't feel like bowl preparation yet. They're just getting out of exams. Matter of fact, some still have them this week in some of our graduate classes. And we had weight training today. We'll have it on Wednesday, and then of course we have the short week. It'll be next week where we have to be very creative with their time. And during bowl preparation, you get a chance to do a lot of things. You could take the guys to movies, out to eat. Those things will not be available to us. So, we're really, strategizing as to what are some of the activities that we're going to be looking at, to make sure that we have some things for our guys to do over the next few weeks. That hasn't hit us yet, but that's going to hit us probably next week. Yeah, Tommy Tremble should be spotlighted for the way he blocks and the ferocity, if that's a word, in which he does that. He is, he plays so fast, he plays so aggressive, he finishes his blocks, and I just think it's a lost art in so many instances when we talk about the game of football, and so when people see that, it really stands out. And I know for the aficionados of this game, love watching that, and I love watching it. So the more Tommy Tremble, give me more. I love watching him play.
We'll go next to Tyler James.
Hi, Brian. I have a pair of questions as well, and kudos to you for somehow never forgetting the second question when we ask you questions.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
The first one is, where has Myron improved his game, and how has that impacted the defense? And then second question is, how has Sean Crawford performed compared to your expectations for him at safety this season?
Yeah, Myron, I think, got off to a slow start with the injury, and, he was banged up a little bit. But I think he's really rounding into the kind of player that we thought he would be, and has had really 3 great weeks. Look, the defensive line position is one where, if you're getting double teamed on a particular play, your job is to hold that double team as long as you can, and so it's not very glamorous. I think what he's done is he's done his job, but when he's singled up, he's made a lot of plays for us. And so when we're looking at grading, we're looking at, number one, do you do your job when you're asked to do your job? Not running around blocks, not trying to make plays when you're not in a position to make a play. So the discipline of the defense. And then when you're singled up, making plays. And when he gets singled up, he's very difficult to block and does not stay blocked. I think that's extremely important. And the second question I forgot.
Sean Crawford.
I was kidding.
Okay.
I was kidding. We got you. Sean Crawford. Look, we bounced them around back and forth at the safety position. I think he's, the one thing at that position more than anything else, it requires incredible communication, and I think that's an area that Sean is working on. And getting better at, and he's going to have to continue to evolve there and get better at. Look, the position itself, when you're teamed up with Kyle Hamilton, we're asking him to do a lot of things because we free up Kyle quite a bit. So a lot of pressure on him to do some things, from a tactical standpoint. That require a lot of communication with corners and getting that information from one sideline to the other. So, look, I'm not up here to talk about all the things that could and do go wrong back there during a game, but Sean's got a lot on his plate. He's working through it, and we have a ton of confidence in his ability to continue to ascend at that position.
We'll go next to Doug Farmer.
Brian, I'm not asking so much about specifics, but coming off, let's say, your first real bye week of the season, considering the first one was right around that outbreak,
Yeah.
did you have any guidelines for players on returning home or leaving campus and such this past week, and then primarily the weekend?
Yeah, nobody traveled. Nobody was in a position to do so either because we wanted to maintain our bubble. So guys were here. We stayed in our, I guess, our modified quarantine, if you will. Our guys tested on Saturday. All their tests came back negative. So we wanted to maintain that. And again, I think, once you step outside this environment that we've created, you open yourself up to the uncertainty, and our guys understand that. They know that this is what they signed up for. It's not easy, but they're committed to it. They've gone this far. There's no turning back right now. So they know the next few weeks are certainly going to be similar. And again, that's why Thanksgiving looks a lot different, but they're prepared for that.
We'll go next to Austin Huff.
Brian, just one question for me. I will try to help you remember two. The NCAA obviously extended its dead period for recruiting till April 15th. Obviously, you had a nice week last week in that sense. So with recruiting, can't talk about specifics, of course. But what's maybe one thing that you didn't realize would be a challenge with this kind of virtual recruiting that has really become a challenge here over the last couple months?
Well, I just think the whole process is a challenge. I mean, I think we've got a pretty good handle on how we're going about and recruiting during this extremely challenging situation where you can't get a young man to your campus. So I think we have to start with the premise that this is a challenge, and then we've kind of gotten a niche or a routine, if you will, on how we like to do things with the the virtual visits and presentations, and we're going to have to continue to do that with some modifications, I would hope, from the NCAA when we talk about the 22 class, because certainly they're going to have to open it up relative to advancing phone calls and things of that nature. But yeah, the challenge is in the fact that we just have to do this. And now that we have a pretty good process in place, it's just adding more pieces to it and being creative.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Brian, one, Zeke Correll, last year, I think he was repping sort of behind Colin Grunhardt. What was his first year like in terms of getting up to speed? I think probably more in size and strength than anything else. And then the second one is, how closely are you monitoring what's going on with Clemson and Florida State? The potential for Clemson to have to play December 12th, which you play Wake Forest as it stands right now. I'm just sort of curious how much you try to stay on top of that situation.
Yeah, I think you've answered your own question, Pete. You're exactly right. I think we really liked everything about Zeke. He was 265 pounds, and he was in the process of developing a coat of armor. Coach Bayless was in the laboratory with him, if you will, and got him up to over, close to 295 pounds. He's at 288, I think, yesterday at the weigh-in. So he's going to float in there between 285 and 290. Jared weighed 294, Jared Patterson, when we played last week. So, he's at a position right now where at that center position, he's nimble, he's quick, he can snap the football, he's very smart, really good pass protector. He can do the things. He's got actually a lot of film. If you look at all the reps that he got as a center going in the second half of games, we've gotten a chance to see him quite a bit, and we like what he's doing. But you're absolutely right. A lot of that had to do with his not having the strength and the weight necessary to play the position the way we wanted it done. He's addressed that, so we're excited about it. Yeah, we know what the schedule looks like. We're monitoring it because the ACC rules relative to the amount of games to be played. Certainly, we want to take care of what's in front of us. So what's important now for us is North Carolina. But we know what the schedule looks like. We know that we're scheduled to play Wake Forest. We know that Clemson and Florida State are potentially scheduled for that weekend. So we have an eye on it. Ron Paulus is responsible for the scheduling. Ron's in very early in the morning and he stays very late. So I'm sure he's all over that one.
Our next question is from a few media members via the chat. Braden Lindsay is not listed on the two deep. Can you provide an update on his status and whether he'll be available and how big of a role he could have if he is available on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't take too much from this two deep. Katie makes me turn it in, or you guys will be screaming. So you can pencil him in there somewhere in between. He's made great progress. He's going to move from what we considered modified work, which would be our own scouted work, and he is going into 11-on-11 work this week, which is 1-on-1 against our defense, 11-on-11 work against our defense. That is really the next step towards 100% being cleared to go. We'll see how he works through that, but he'll do that today. He gets the green light. I'll pencil him in, and I'll get you guys a new two deep.
We will circle back to Tim Priester.
Tim's just playing hard to get.
Can you hear me, Brian?
I can, Tim. Yes, sir.
I'm very sorry for that. Getting back to North Carolina, our offense, my original question 20 minutes ago, Virginia is the only one that's really stopped them in terms of the running game. If you stop one, can you stop the other? What's a realistic goal for you against such a well-balanced offense?
Well, certainly. I mean, there's the impact that the run game has to their RPOs, right? I think Tim mentioned the RPO game. The RPO game is central to what they do, but you have to have a running game for the RPO game to be effective. But this is like any other offense. It's rhythm, right? And the rhythm comes from balance. If you have balance within your offense, you have rhythm. If you don't have balance, then you lack the rhythm necessary. So it's our job to get them and get Sam off rhythm. And you do that by keeping the down and distance in your favor. So it's very, very important for us to do that at the line of scrimmage and then eliminate the big plays. So if I was to center around two things without giving away too much of a game plan, it's you've got to be really good at the line of scrimmage and being effective at stopping base run plays. And then you can't give up big chunk plays. Now, they're going to get some, but you can't have them throwing the ball over your head left and right. If you can do those two things. Virginia was able to stop the run, but they had no chance in the back end. They were giving up, I think, in that game, I want to say Brown had over 200 yards receiving against Virginia. You just can't have those kinds of games.
We'll go next to Brian Driscoll.
Coach, I wanted to ask about your receivers. Obviously, in the past, you've had guys like Michael Floyd, Tyler Eifert, Will Fuller, Chase Claypool last year, and they present unique individual problems for defenses. Your unit this year is a little different. You've got backfield, tight end, and receiver, a lot of different weapons. How does that kind of balance throughout different positions create its own unique matchup problems for defenses?
Yeah, so there's other pieces in there. There's a demeanor. Those guys are physical. They exert a presence out there of physicality, which is seen on film. Those guys will block your tail off, and then they have the ability to go up and get the football. So I think you add that dimension when you watch them on film. The first thing that jumps off is that these guys will do the dirty work, and then when the ball is thrown their way, they're going to fight for it. So add that to winning one-on-one matchups. Avery Davis has got the ability to run after the catch, the tight ends, the running backs coming out of the backfield, and you have a very good balance within what you're trying to put together offensively. We're not five wides. We're not all over the field, but we have established our DNA in terms of what we want to look like, and it starts with being physical.
We'll go next to Mark Skoll.
Hey, Coach, hard to believe this is the first meeting between you and Mac Brown ever. Two of the most winningest coaches in the FBS currently and coach the most games in the FBS. What do you think has been the key for both of you coaching for so long and both achieving a lot of success?
Not playing each other. That's worked out pretty good. Yeah, I think, for both of us, it's been our consistency in our approach and day in and day out, being who we are. And, you can see that in who Mac is and what's important to him and what's important to me. So, yeah, I just think consistency, day in and day out, doing the things that we've done for so long, and not really, coming off that very far. So I have a ton of respect for Mac. He's been a great mentor to me in a lot of ways, and got to know him back when I was the head coach at Grand Valley State, and we coached together in the Hula Bowl and back in the early 2000s. And what I've always respected about him is, he always had time for, the guy that was coming up in the ranks as well.
And we'll wrap it up with Eric Hansen.
Oh, we get to come back to Eric Hansen? Wow.
That's because you weren't on camera the first time.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to get on camera with you.
Okay. Well, I have a bonus injury question then.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
Right. Well, there was some concern about SIBO after the last game.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to check on him, Kyron's status.
Mm-hmm.
And you had looked at Osita way back in August. Is he an option if you get thin on numbers and running back?
Yeah, SIBO will practice today. He had an ankle. He ran yesterday. Our trainers were optimistic that he'll be ready to play this weekend. We'll be smart with him, but he should be a go for this weekend. So with that being a third, the guy that swung back and forth is KAR. He's moved back and forth for us, has been a swing guy for us, because we really don't want to mess with Jafar, because we want to give him a fair chance to get comfortable there at the wide receiver position. So that's kind of how that's, gone down at the running back position. So I think we're going to be okay there with Sibo's situation as it is. And then you had one other question there. I'm sorry. Oh, Kyron. Yeah, Kyron. Kyron had a little bit of an ankle, but nothing major. I think the week off did him really good. He looked good in the weight room this morning. We weight trained this morning, and he had no limitations. We were speed squatting, and he had no limitations. He looked good. His power looked good coming off the floor. So I don't expect any problems with Kyron.
All right, we will wrap it up there. Thank you very much,
Great.
Coach.
Thank you.